Hello, my name is Tylluan Penry. I'm a solitary pagan witch and the founder of the Wolf and Howl Press. Today's little talk is about psychic vampires and people who try to dominate you in a psychic way. It's only brief because it's a huge subject and we'll probably have to return to it a couple of times. But here goes. The term psychic vampire tends to come and go a lot. One moment it'll be very, very popular and everybody's asking about it, and then I won't get any queries for months on end. But what is a psychic vampire? We all know about Dracula and fangs into women's necks and all that sort of thing, Twilight, what have you. Fair enough. Psychic vampires are something different and there's a lot of misunderstanding about it. We all know there are people who generate huge amounts of nervous energy that leave us feeling completely shattered at the end of it. It's like they're wound up, they've got a battery inside them and it's going hell for leather. That is not a psychic vampire. It might leave you absolutely shattered at the end of talking to them, but that is not a psychic vampire. A psychic vampire is somebody who leaves you feeling drained for no really apparent reason. And in fact, you can often spot them because once they find a congenial host, they tend to stick to them like glue, either in a relationship or friendships or groups. And you'll often spot it, if they've been together a while, you will notice that one member or one side of the partnership looks incredibly young and youthful, and the other looks old. And I don't just mean old because obviously aging is a genetic thing and some people age more quickly than others. What I'm talking about is a sort of a desiccated look, almost like they've dried out. Once seen, never forgotten. So that's a way that you can spot it, although obviously by then it's a bit late. But anyway, one thing I'm often asked about is people who feel uncomfortable in someone else's presence. They don't know whether that person is a vampire, but they do make them feel very uncomfortable. And it normally manifests in one of two ways. Either the person fixes you with their stare when they're talking. Now, everybody does that to an extent. I do it when talking to the camera, some of the time. Though if you follow it, you see my eyes go all over the place. But these are people who stare at you no matter what. You know, they could be talking about the weather, the bus service, anything, but they've got you in their sights. And it's very easy to feel like a rabbit caught in the crosshairs of a hunter's rifle. You do. You literally end up feeling a bit like that. What are they doing, these people who stare? What they're actually doing is they are attempting to set up a link between here, which is roughly where your third eye is, to your third eye. It's setting up a communication. Now, we all communicate. I talk with my hands a lot. I sit here and I chat. But this is a form of communication that you have not consented to, you are not aware of, and you are not able to participate in. It's literally setting up a link. So that's one. And the best way of dealing with that is to visualize yourself. Hang on. He'll stop in a minute. It's to visualize yourself severing the link. And people find lots of different ways of doing it. I think I better stop. Do you? No? Okay. Our cameraman is shaking his head saying, no, go on. Right, okay. You sever the link. Can you sever the link? This is so surreal. Right. I'm not quite sure how to do this, but I'll try and stick my head around the corner. This is done by severing the link. He does love his mummy. This is done severing the link, visualising things like scissors, axes, lawnmowers, knives, anything. It's all made up in your mind, but it does work. Now, the other type of person does not fix it with you with their stare. They do the opposite. Thank you, Noah. They find any excuse not to look at you. Now normally we would say that's shifty. If I'm talking to you and I'm looking over there, you'd think, why is she not looking at me? But what they do, and you often find it with professionals like doctors and lawyers, and they tend to look away and they fiddle with their glasses. They're always cleaning their glasses and looking away. And another very common one is they do this. You notice people who do that. And I have sore eyes. I mean, any of you who followed my blogs and things, you'll know that I have a lot of eye problems. And yes, I will sometimes have to scratch my eyes. But do beware of people who spend a whole conversation with their fingertips in their tear ducts, because that's not normal. And again, what they're trying to do is to prevent you setting up any link to them. They are literally looking away from you. They don't want to see your eyes. They don't want to see your reaction. They're not interested in how you react to what they're telling you. And that's why I think it often happens with people who are professionals, because they are so used to getting their own way with the lay public. They will go to any lengths to make sure that the person they're talking to accepts their point of view and doesn't get a chance to put any feeling or reaction. They're not interested in whether their words hurt you or anything like that. What can you do with them? Well, I don't normally recommend setting up your own particular link, but I think if you have a reasonable reaction to it, it's not a bad idea to try to psychically connect to see if you can reach them on some other level, as long as, of course, you remember to end it afterwards. But, of course, you do have to be careful when you start setting up links that it's a two-way process. And, what you get from the other person, that's one thing, but what they get from you is something else entirely. So, worth thinking about. And I do apologise for all the noise, the interruptions, but that is what it's like in my world. People think I just sit here and merrily write and what have you. No, I get slobbered on, I get stood on, drooled over, they nick my dinner, all sorts of things. That's what it's like in the Penry household. Anyway, thank you very much for listening. And we'll catch up again soon. Thank you. Bye.